All right, everybody, welcome back to Sip and Talk. I'm glad to be back. And of course, you know, we can't have Sip and Talk without my amazing co-host, Sunny.
Hey.
What is up, Sunny?
Not much. Just trying to stay warm out here. It is cold.
It is cold. It is March. It should not be this cold.
I know, right? Tell me about it.
I know, but I guess you know what else is cold?
What?
The U.S.-Ukraine relations.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're frosty right now.
Very frosty.
So that's what we're going to be talking about today, right? The UK's support of Ukraine.
That's right, because we all know that the UK is like right there with Ukraine and they're giving them all this support. And it's like, are they the biggest supporter?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
That is the question.
And you know, we have all these sources that are saying like, oh yeah, UK's the biggest supporter. Like they're really stepping up. But like, are they really?
Are they really?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we've been following this for how long now? 3 years?
3 years this month?
This month, it's been 3 years since the war started. Can you believe that?
It's crazy. Like, it feels like just yesterday.
I know. And now we have this like whole other layer of the U.S. and Ukraine not really getting along.
Yeah, it's like they're the parents who are fighting, and the UK is like the cool aunt who's like, come on, kids, let's go get ice cream.
Exactly. I love that. And so that's where we are right now.
Yeah, so let's like get into the nitty-gritty of this.
Yeah, let's deep dive.
Deep dive. Okay, so like one of the first things our sources mentioned was this whole claim that the UK is like the biggest European supporter of Ukraine.
Right.
But like when you look at the numbers.
Yeah, the receipts.
Yeah, it's like, maybe not.
Not really, because
Germany. They're actually giving a lot more.
Way more.
We're talking $212 billion from Germany versus like $128 billion from the UK.
Which is still a lot.
It is still a lot. Yeah, don't get me wrong. The UK is definitely like putting their money where their mouth is.
Right. It's not like they're just, you know, talking the talk.
Yeah.
They're walking the walk.
Exactly.
But Germany is like sprinting.
They are sprinting like they are in it to win it.
They're like, we're going to support Ukraine.
Yeah, like no matter what.
So what makes the UK such a, you know, what makes them seem like the biggest supporter?
Okay, so like even though Germany is giving more overall,
right,
the UK might be the biggest, like, among those non-EU countries in Europe.
So, like, outside the EU?
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of, like, leading the pack of those countries.
Okay, so even though they Brexited...
They Brexited, but they're still like, hey, Europe, we're still here to play.
They're still involved.
Yeah. It's like that friend who moves out but still comes over for game night every week.
Okay, that makes sense. And so, like...
And get this, like, Norway, which is, like, way smaller than the UK. Tiny. They might be giving more per person.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of wild, right?
That's crazy.
So it's like all these different ways to look at it.
So why is the UK, I mean, why are they like this?
Right, like what's their deal?
Right.
Well, our sources point to this whole long history between the UK and Ukraine.
Like a long history?
Long, like we're talking centuries.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently there were even Ukrainian soldiers in the British Army back in the 1600s.
Shut up, no way.
Yeah, it's like a bromance that's been going on for ages.
Wow, so they've been like tight,
like besties for centuries.
This is like not a new thing for them?
No, like this is like deep rooted.
Interesting.
Yeah, and apparently that historical connection has like shaped their modern day relationship too.
So it's not just like, oh, we're going to support you.
No, it's like a real genuine like friendship. Yeah, they've got strong ties through trade, education, even defense stuff.
So they've been working together?
Working together, yeah. And get this, the UK was actually one of the first countries to recognize Ukraine's independence back in 1991.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they were like early adopters of the whole Ukraine is a real country thing.
They were there from the beginning?
Right there from the beginning. So it's like all that history.
Yeah.
It really explains why the UK was like so quick to jump in and help when Russia invaded back in 2022.
He was like, their bestie was like in trouble. And they were like, I'm there.
Exactly. Like no hesitation.
Yeah. They were like, what do you need? I'm there for you.
Right. Like they weren't just like, oh, here's some thoughts and prayers. They were like, we're sending tanks, missiles, the whole shebang.
Whoa. Okay. So they're like really in it.
They are all in.
Okay. So.
But that's what we're going to talk about next. Like, what does that actually look like?
Yeah. Because it's one thing to say, oh, we're supporting you. But what does it actually mean, like, on the ground?
Yeah, what are they actually doing?
And stay tuned, because we're going to dive into all that after the break.
Can't wait.
All right, see you guys in a minute. I just want to give another shout out to Micky from Mickytolife. His channel is a treasure trove of inspiration, and he's a huge Sip and Talk fan.
Absolutely. Make sure to check him out and maybe even share your awesome podcast intro with him once you've created it. So we were talking about all the ways the UK is like super supportive of Ukraine, right? Like they're really going all out.
Yeah, they're basically like, ride or die for Ukraine.
Exactly. But here's the thing, like, even with besties, sometimes you gotta wonder, like, is all this support sustainable, you know?
Right, like you don't want to drain your bank account just to buy your friend a fancy coffee every day, even if they really need that caffeine fix.
Exactly. And we're not talking about coffee money here. We're talking billions of pounds. Like, remember that 128 billion figure? That's a lot of dough.
That's a whole lot of dough.
Mm.
And our sources mentioned that some people are saying like, hey, this is putting a strain on the UK's economy.
Yeah, like maybe they should be focusing on their own problems first, you know?
Right. Like what about healthcare and housing and the cost of living, like all that stuff that's hitting people hard back home?
It's a tough balance, right? Like wanting to help your friend, but also making sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah, totally. And then there's that whole other elephant in the room.
Yeah. The U.S. and Ukraine not exactly being on the same page anymore.
It's like that awkward moment when your two best friends have a falling out and you're stuck in the middle.
And you're just like, can't we all just get along?
And the UK is like stuck in this weird position where they're trying to be the peacemaker.
Yeah. It's like they're trying to be Switzerland, but with way more involvement.
Yeah, like Switzerland with tanks and missiles.
Exactly. But you know, one thing that's interesting is that the UK has really stepped up in terms of trying to find a peaceful solution.
Right. They hosted that big summit in London a couple months ago.
Yeah, and a bunch of countries came together to try and figure out a plan for peace in Ukraine.
It's kind of like when your friends are fighting and you're like, okay, everybody, let's sit down and talk this out.
Yeah, and the UK is like the designated mediator.
Exactly. And they're taking it seriously, too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's also a risky move, right? Like by taking such a strong stance on this, they're kind of putting a target on their own back.
You don't want to make Russia angry.
Right. Like they're not exactly known for being chill.
So it's a delicate balance. Like they're trying to support Ukraine and work towards peace, but they also don't want to provoke Russia.
Exactly. It's a high-stakes game of diplomacy.
It's like walking on a tightrope, basically.
Totally. And one of the things our sources mentioned was that the UK signed this 100-year commitment thing.
100 years. That's a long time.
I know, right? Basically, they pledged to keep supporting Ukraine for the next century.
Wow, that's some serious commitment.
Right. Like they're basically saying we're in it for the long haul.
But that also makes me wonder, like, what if things get worse? Like, what if the war drags on for another 10 years or 20 years? Can the UK really keep this up?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Like, is this sustainable?
And what about the people in the UK? Like, are they going to keep supporting this if it means higher taxes or cuts to other programs?
It's a tough call.
Yeah, and speaking of tough calls, we haven't even talked about the human cost of all this.
Right. Like, we've been focusing on the political and economic stuff, but it's important to remember that real people are being affected by this war.
Yeah, like let's shift gears for a bit and talk about the Ukrainians who are caught in the middle of all this.
Yeah, let's hear their stories.
Because those are the stories that really matter.
Absolutely. So we've been talking about all the support the UK is giving Ukraine, right? Like the money, the military equipment. But at the end of the day, it's the people who are really feeling the impact of this war.
Yeah, absolutely. Like their lives have been turned upside down.
Totally. And one of our sources highlighted all the humanitarian aid the UK is sending over.
Like what kind of stuff?
Well, you know, basic necessities like food and water and shelter, but also medical supplies and even psychological support.
Oh, wow. That's really important, especially for those who have been through so much trauma.
Right. Like, it's not just about physical needs. It's about mental and emotional well-being, too.
Well, what about the people who had to flee Ukraine, like the refugees?
Yeah, the UK has actually been taking in a lot of refugees, giving them a safe place to stay and helping them get back on their feet.
That's amazing. It's one thing to send money and supplies, but it's another thing to actually open your doors to people in need.
Yeah, it shows a real commitment to helping.
But I imagine it must be so difficult for those refugees, even with all the support. Starting over in a new country is hard.
Oh, definitely. Like they've lost their homes, their jobs, their communities, and now they have to learn a new language and culture.
It's like their whole world has been shattered.
And some of our sources actually shared stories from Ukrainian refugees who are now living in the UK.
What are they saying?
Well, it's a mix of emotions. You know, there's a lot of gratitude for the support they've received, but there's also sadness and grief for what they've lost and a lot of uncertainty about the future.
It must be so overwhelming.
Absolutely. But it's also inspiring to see their resilience and determination to rebuild their lives.
It just shows the human spirit is so strong.
It really does. And these stories are a good reminder that this whole situation is about so much more than politics or military strategy.
Right. It's about real people, real lives.
Exactly.
So let's take a step back for a minute and think about everything we've talked about today.
Yeah, like Is the UK really Europe's biggest supporter of Ukraine?
Oh, it's complicated.
Right. Germany is giving more money overall, but the UK is really stepping up in terms of military aid and diplomatic efforts.
And they're also providing a lot of humanitarian assistance in taking in refugees.
Plus, they've made this huge commitment to keep supporting Ukraine for the next 100 years.
Which is a bold move for sure.
Yeah.
But it also raises some questions like, is it sustainable?
Yeah, like, can they really keep this up for the long haul?
And what about the potential risks? Are they putting themselves in danger by being so outspoken in their support of Ukraine?
So many things to consider.
I know, and honestly, we don't have all the answers.
But what we do know is that the situation in Ukraine is constantly changing.
And the UK is playing a key role in shaping how things unfold.
So what do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
We'd love to hear your perspectives, and remember to keep sipping smart, talking deep, and staying curious.